So, hi, it's Nancy. I am making my first video, so bear with me. I just wanted to show you how I put my mugs together, and so I just wanted to go over with you a little bit. So I have three different mugs that I have cut out here already. So I'm just going to put one of them together and score and bevel the edges and put them together. So you'll need a couple of tools. If you have this little bevel cutter, that's great. If not, you could use your pin tool and just go at about a 45-degree angle. Also, you'll need something to score your clay. So you could either use your pin tool or you can use a scoring tool. You'll also need a little bit of water or slip. Some people use slip. I just use water. And then some brushes so that you can put the water on. So I have my my mug body here, and then I have the base here. So the first thing that I'm going to do is try and get a little bit of room here. But the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to bevel the edges, and this is a great tool. I just got this. I love it. So you just really put it right up against the clay and move this along the edge, and that puts a really nice bevel on the edge. And then you have to do the same thing on the other side, and they need to be opposite of each other. So you're just going to turn it over, use the same tool the same way, bevel another edge here, and so now you have two beveled edges. So when you go to put them together, they're going to crisscross like this. So the next step that I do is I don't use slip. I prefer to just score the heck out of it and use water to put it together. So this clay is pretty soft. I've actually let it sit here. This one's getting a little bit harder. I've let it sit here for maybe about 20 minutes or so, just so that it could stiffen up a little bit before I tried to put it together. So what I do is I take my scoring tool and I just run it along the edge here, and you'll be able to see it a little better hopefully. So I run it in that direction, and then I hold my finger here, otherwise you're going to chew up the whole edge of your piece. So I just use the scoring tool in two different directions, and I'm not shy about it. I do it a little bit deep because I don't usually reinforce my edges. So then the next side you're going to do the exact same thing with. I just run down the beveled edge, and then I do the same thing, scoring it in two different directions just to get a nice score for your connection. And I'll do that all the way down. And then the next step is I'll put a little bit of water on, and I found that it's a little bit easier to do it kind of in this direction as opposed to on the sideways direction. So what I do then is I'll take a brush and dip it in some water, or you could use slip, and I just take it, and I use a fair amount of water just so that I can get a nice good seal. If you use too much, you're just going to get a mess. So for the next part, you're just going to bring these two edges together, and I try and line it up as best I can, and kind of not pushing really, really hard, because you don't want to really indent the clay too much. So this is going to see if you get it too wet, it just gets messy. So then what I'm going to do is I just use my finger to just kind of move the clay in the same direction that it's going. Because if you push the clay together, it's just going to get all distorted. So for right now, I'm just trying to put that together a little bit, and then I'm going to turn it on end. And you can see on the inside, hopefully, it's actually a pretty nice seam to start with. So that's what's nice about getting those equal beveled edges with that tool. So then, and I don't have it right in front of me, I usually use like a wooden tool, which I don't have right here right now. So I'm just going to try again with my fingers on the inside, going in the same direction as the top layer of the clay. And since I don't have my tool, I'm just going to turn it around and do the same thing. So I can try later to smooth it out a little bit better once I have a better tool. But you might be able to see you're getting a nice connection there that isn't all distorted. Now you can go back once you're done here and try and level this out a little bit better with either your metal rib, or maybe a sponge or whatever. So I'm not going to go too crazy on this one because I want to show you how to put the base on as well. So this one, I'm actually going to flip it over and put my little stamper on it before I do it. So then I don't have to worry about that later. So that's done. And what I try and do is I just try and approximate a circle as much as I can. And if you put it on top here, you can kind of get an idea of where your scoring marks need to go. But I just know from doing it before that I'll just go on like maybe 1/4 inch, 1/2 inch on either around the entire base. And again, I do it in 2 different directions. So I'll do it this way first, and then I'll go around the circle and just take it one circle around. You don't really have to worry too much about the edges of this one because you're going to blend it in. So we have the base there, and then we do have to, and this is still a little soft, so it is still a little touchy for me to be doing this right now, but I just want to finish this so I can show you how I attach the base. So then of course you're going to have to go in and score the bottom of the cup as well, and I do the same thing. I'll just do it in a couple different directions, and again, I wouldn't worry too much about the fact that you're not being really neat because you're going to blend it. And so right now I just want to get a good score on there because, like I said, I don't usually use reinforcements. So I just like to get a nice good score. And then because I've done it haphazardly, kind of just put my finger around here and it'll knock off some of the clay on the outside. And then I do the same thing on the outside. So now I've made it a little kind of out of shape, but we'll fix that when we go to put this base on. So again, I'm going to use the water around the base. I do it generously. And I'm going to flip this over. And again, I'm going to try and approximate a circle as much as I can on the bottom. I'm not worried about the sides yet. And then once you get it in a nice circle, I'll just put it right down on top of there. And I just kind of put a little pressure and just wiggle it a little bit sideways and in like a little round way. You can't really press down too much on it because you're going to end up messing up your sides. So I just kind of wiggle it a little bit, try and get a little bit of a grip there. And then I'll use my needle tool to just go around the base and take off the excess clay around the sides. I just try and even it up. And once I do that, I'll get rid of that clay. And now we got to try and blend that a little bit better. And it's probably easiest to do it while you still have it. And I just use my finger. And I just go around and try and get that clay a little bit smoother and a little bit connected. And again, you can see how soft it is, so I should have let it go maybe a little bit longer. But so now you can see that there's my seam, so I want to work on that a little bit more, try and smooth that out. This is my base, so it is a little bit, it's not perfectly straight, but if you look at the inside, the way I finish that off is I just take a different, a nicer, more firm brush, and I go around the edges on the inside. I don't know if you can see that or not. And that'll get rid of some of the scoring marks that you had put on it, you know, when you scored it. So I usually just do that around the edge there to connect it, and then I'll try and work on keeping it a round shape. And you know, once it gets a little bit harder, then we'll go for a handle. So that's all. Thank you very much.